What's up, everybody? Simon here. In this video, we're going to go ahead and talk about American Express Centurion. I know I have not done an Amex Centurion video in a while, so thanks for sticking around. Now, in this particular video, we'll go into the Centurion Living event. This is American Express's membership way to give back to members and create kind of a bonding experience with the members in the local area. Now, they do a lot of events in New York and Los Angeles, and some of the other cities have finally come to San Francisco, and they have done a introduction to psychoanalysis event by Centurion. This was my first event, guys, and I was really excited to go. I wanted to see and experience what it was like. And in this video, we're going to go into pretty much every aspect of it. So let's get into it. So the Centurion Living event took place near downtown San Francisco. It was at a hotel. They did rent out a space where they had some televisions and some snacks and food. And I took a few pictures here and there, as you could see here on the screen. However, I personally was kind of excited to see what kind of people would show up, how would they be dressed, and so forth. This particular event was an event on psychoanalysis, and it was with Dr. Orna Guralnik, with Dr. Eyal Razmarin, and Laurie Abraham. So overall, this was the event, Centurion Living introduction. I took notes, guys. I took notes. I wasn't just there playing around. And it talked about the unconscious mind, how it creates doubt, how your thoughts or feelings are constantly going through your processing or your brain. I mean, it's constant, whether you're sleeping or not. And it talked about a lot of Sigmund Freud, his belief the unconscious is the true physical reality in its innermost nature. It is as much unknown to us as the reality of the external world. I mean, it was really interesting. Basically, there's a constant conflict of your body and your mind to communicate, to process things, to weed things out. You know, there are also discussions of why do we have symptoms? Why do you feel the way you feel today versus yesterday? How come you feel one way when you see someone and you feel a different way when you see someone else? Your subconscious or unconscious mind is constantly working to determine these things, to process these things. The first introduction came out, and Dr. Orna did a great job really discussing how our minds really control our beliefs, behavior, our body, and things that make up you as a person. When I walked into the place, there wasn't many individuals at the place. I was a little surprised. I thought the event would be a bit bigger. I thought there would be maybe more people there, but there weren't as many people. It was a comfortable group, an intimate group, and I think it was appropriate for a psychoanalysis event. Now, they didn't do any psychoanalysis on anybody particularly, but they did show some videos as the event went on of scenarios of cases. This event was free for Centurion members, and you did have to check in at the guest check-in place to let them know your name. You did also have to reserve a spot prior to arriving to one of these events so that they're not full or they could plan proper drinking. We did also get a lunch, which we ate in intermission. I did get to sit with some local Bay Area people that are also Centurion members, hear their stories and so forth. I met a very interesting individual that does holistic therapy and ran a big company. But overall, the event was pretty cool. So they gave you this little book, and in this book, you have a lot of different things that are happening. You got Freud introduction, the ID, the superego, and the ego. Freud did discuss the ID, the superego, and the ego, and the conflict between the ID of who you are and your superego, which says you could do, and then your ego, which is downplaying what you can do, and it's basically tension between your body. Overall, it was an interesting event. I did take more and more notes, and as we go into it, there's just so many chapters on psychoanalysis. Now, if you've taken psychoanalysis, comment below. I think there are some very good examples and aggressions that they've displayed, but there's also defense mechanisms. Like, for example, men tend to be more avoiding or distant, isolation, maybe acting out, and women had different type of responses to defenses of stress, right? Or things that are causing them trauma. There were a lot of discussions about everything goes back to the mother and the sexuality of a mother, where a boy, for example, grows up and he has to realize that he's competing with the father for his mother's love. And that is at one point or another a distraction. It's a jealousy, almost a rival. And then he realizes that he can't have his mother. So there's an intense battle between that, which is kind of interesting, that takes place for his love. And the same thing with a girl. So there's a lot of like emphasis on childhood development and trauma and how we experience and process trauma. At first, I thought the Centurion Living event would be an event. I had it completely confused from psychoanalysis to, I think it's called not psychosis, but what's the one, comment below, I forget, where they put you to sleep and you go into your subconscious. God, I forgot the name while filming this. This is so funny. But overall, I thought it was a different type of experience, or it was going to be an experience. However, I truly enjoyed it. I wish Centurion Living had more events here in San Francisco. They do not. In fact, when I talked to my rep at Centurion, they did tell me that future events are probably going to be more of a dinner-like setting, maybe a lounge, or more of like I wouldn't say a trade show feel, but an intimate dinner with a chef, or an intimate dinner culinary experience, things of maybe a wine making experience and so forth, where Centurion members are going to get to socialize more. I did feel like in this Centurion Living event, we really didn't get to socialize. And I thought the point of the Centurion Living event, which hosts quite a few events a year, was to have members socialize and feel like they're part of a group or an elite group of credit card holders. And during these events where there's a presentation and a very specific individual that is talking about a specific term or teaching you about psychosis or psychoanalysis, there's no room for talking to other Centurion members. You can't interrupt. So basically, we sat on these couches, we listened to the presentation. They did a couple of plays that acted out certain events of trauma, certain events of relationships. I won't go into those events, but it was basically just, why are we behaving the way that we're behaving? How do we get around that? How do we build up trust for our loved one? How do we break a cycle of bad behavior? There was an example of a woman who felt like because she drank so much alcohol during pregnancy that she passed something bad down to the baby, that she had somehow poisoned this baby. Even though the baby was super healthy, in her mind, she could not get over that. And that psychoanalysis helped her get over that trauma and that deep guilt or sorrow that she constantly felt in with what she was dealing with. And then they had to go dig deeper as to why she was drinking and so forth. So everything goes back to childhood. But overall, at this event, there was not much time to talk to people and say, what do you do? What do you do? This is what I do. Why are you a Centurion member? How did you get the Centurion card? Do you like it? Do you want to, are you going to renew? Are you going to be around? Are you going to be a member for a long time? What can Centurion improve on? Or, just networking. And I don't think with presentation type of events at Centurion Living, you're going to get that. So I truly think that if Centurion Living can switch up their events to fine dining, where let's say they get a culinary chef experience, maybe not at the French Laundry because it's expensive, but somewhere along the lines of a partner that they are partnered with in the luxury space. I don't know how much luxury Amex is purchasing, but for example, LVMH is buying up so many vineyards in Napa Valley, and they're hosting these really exclusive dining experiences for members of those wine clubs or vineyards, that I think that is a much better scenario to be a member or to be part of something than just going to a presentation. Not that the presentation was not good, but I feel like if you're looking for a networking event or you're looking to meet other Centurion members that are in this elite group, you're just not going to get that experience when someone else is talking and presenting, right? You can't be rude and interrupt. So Centurion, I do look forward to you guys really launching an event where I feel like there's a little cocktail party, or let's say you come in, you have about 30 minutes to an hour to have a few glasses of champagne to engage other members with what they do, what they're about, why they have the card, then maybe a dinner experience that would be phenomenal, where you could enjoy some type of culinary cuisine where you would be interested in that region, or maybe in an area such as Napa Valley where some of the top chefs are. That to me sounds a lot better. Or a wine tasting even sounds a lot better than possibly going to an event where you do learn some things. But I feel like an individual that wants to learn about psychoanalysis, or an individual that wants to learn about, any type of a teaching or a skill set, can look that up in independent means and have that one-on-one time with a therapist or a doctor, versus potentially you're not going to get 20, 40, 50, 100 Centurion members in one area ever, and be able to talk to them if you're at an event. So overall, it was a great experience. Would I do the psychoanalysis event again? I'm not sure if I would. I would probably opt myself for like a fun event, a Napa wine tasting event, etc. Now, that is not to say that this event was not interesting. This event was very interesting. It opened up a lot of my understanding and into my beliefs, into my defenses, how to encourage, behaviors, how to deal with schizophrenia, trauma. It went into the role of fathers. It went into role with kids and their mothers at age 2 to 3, isolation and so forth, and how women respond and men respond differently. And all these things are great. This is, this is an interesting class. And I feel like if you're into that stuff, totally worth the time. Is it the best networking event for Centurion members? I'm going to say no. Was it nice to go to? Yes. But I'd like to see an event where it's a happy event. You're enjoying the company of another member. You're sharing and toasting with them. You're talking, communicating, and I think those are more fun. So Centurion, if you're listening, next Centurion Living event, please, please, please put out an event where members get to communicate, really enjoy each other's company, and have a fun experience. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to watch the other Centurion videos I have on my channel. And please, please, please follow or subscribe to the Ideal Hour, the podcast I have out. The link is below. Thanks for watching.